We're taking a closer look at why Marilyn Monroe's connection to Palm Springs still resonates. News Channel 3's Angela 10 takes us beyond the glamour.
Marilyn Monroe, one pose, one gust of wind, one image, forever etched into pop culture iconography, that legacy towering over Palm Springs itself. But behind that bright smile and that billowing white dress, an enduring mystery, and a News Channel 3 exclusive and inside look at the people behind that iconic pose and the icon herself.
Happy birthday, Mr. President.
Marilyn Monroe.
Happy birthday to you.
Elegant, glamorous, magnetic.
If you look at Marilyn Monroe on screen, when that face and that body, when they're on screen, the screen kind of starts to melt.
Her road to stardom came after a humble beginning.
She was in an orphanage for a while. It toughened her up. She was a very sweet, innocent child put in terrible, terrible situations. So she had to learn early on how to survive.
A Hollywood life made easier by time in the desert. Like so many stars in the 40s and 50s, Palm Springs offered a place to relax, socialize, and escape the constant pressures of fame. One of her most famous connections to the area was through the Palm Springs Racquet Club. It's there she was introduced to agent Johnny Hyde and her career was launched. Today, her presence still draws visitors from around the world. This pose from the movie 7-Year Itch, captured by photographer Bruno Bernard. Bernard's grandson recalls Marilyn's influence and stories to remember.
She was a voracious learner. You know, she didn't get to go to college. She didn't have that opportunity, but she made it her business to want to learn about everything.
A woman who told the world that it was okay to be beautiful.
Diamonds are a girl's best friend.
And this is an important part because people go, oh, well, she was just, it was always the male gaze, or it was always just, you know, other people imposing her sexuality on her. She came to my grandfather among many studio sittings and said, I want you to take more sexy pictures of me.
Miller and his partner Mark putting together a book of Bernard's photography. Never before seen pictures of Monroe, of her life in front and behind the camera.
She didn't speak like that. There's whole passages in Bruno's diary where, you know, she disappeared for 6 months and she came back and all of a sudden her voice is high, you know, and she was talking and then he was like, do you have a frog in your throat? She was like, no. You know, she was trying on this persona.
Often typecast as a blonde bombshell, those who knew her say her intelligence was what may have been the most attractive.
The first night she ever met Robert Kennedy, Marilyn told Kim that she was very nervous and that she had read all of Robert Kennedy's books and all of his speeches to prepare for dinner conversation. That is not an idiot. That's a very smart girl.
From rumors of affairs with multiple Kennedys to known loves, Marilyn married 3 times and divorced 3 times. You see her here with her third husband, playwright Arthur Miller.
I think in terms of her lovers, of course, Hollywood Marilyn is irresistible. But people like Joe DiMaggio, I don't believe he was interested in her brain. I think the soldier she married, a truck driver, wasn't interested in her brain. Arthur Miller was interested in her brain, and she tried so hard to keep up with him, but he lost interest.
Lurgan says behind the movie screen was a woman who desperately wanted to be a mother. Heartbreak led to loneliness and eventually her deterioration.
This was towards the end of her life. She didn't want to have to go into a lot of public spaces, and she would be in the backseat of her car, I believe it was a white Cadillac, with her driver, and she would go to the restaurants, and her driver would go grab the food from, let's say, La Scala, where she would go a lot. He would bring the salad, and she would eat in the back seat and just drive around the city. She didn't want to have to eat in a public space.
It was August 5th, 1961. One of the most recognized film stars and sex symbols in the world was found dead in her Brentwood home. After seeing a therapist for nearly a year, Monroe overdosed on sleeping pills. But there's no question her star power remains. Marilyn Monroe's image remains deeply connected to Palm Springs' identity and will always be loved. Angela Chen, News Channel 3.